They thought we were grave robbers.
This is a ghost story where we don't really see any ghosts.
Back in college, my major was so intensive, especially around finals week. My body would either give out on me during finals week and I'd have to do finals week while sick as a dog, or mercifully would give out on me right after and I'd just come home half dead. So while I was recovering from my illness, my sister learned from an anonymous source working at a local government office that a distraught woman called saying that things were moving around inside her house by themselves, and she believed it had something to do with the old cemetery right next door to her house that had been left uncared for. My sister Megan, she suggested that we go to the cemetery, cut the grass, and plant flowers. It was summer and I was on the mend, so I was like, sure, let's go to a possibly haunted graveyard to help appease angry ghosts. What could go wrong? We left the house in my car with a pallet of impatience, a push mower, garden tools, and a dream of supernatural community service. So we get there, and it is a tiny graveyard that is flush against the property of this house that we assume is where the complaint came from. But the grass is already cut. We were like, great, less work to do. So we hop this little fence and see that not all the tombstones are in good condition, and kind of hard to tell what's a grave and what's not. So we decided to split up and plant flowers wherever we thought there was a grave. It then started to lightly rain, which was annoying since I was still sick, but it would be good for the flowers, so we pressed on. I decided to start planting at the back of the graveyard and meet my sister in the middle. So the first freaky thing happens. I see a snake in the grass, and my monkey brain immediately starts screaming, and I jump back only to realize that it is indeed a snake, but it has no head. To this day, I have never seen a live snake in the wild. So I feel a little annoyed jumping at nothing, and being in the rain is not helping my illness, but then the second freaky thing happens. My sister calls me upset, and I immediately know what she's found from her voice. Cat! She has dug a few inches to plant flowers and has found some animal bones. Without even a thought, I barked, whatever it is, just put it back! Human bones aren't going to be in that shallow grave anyway. So we are almost done planting flowers in front of all of what we assume are graves, and we meet at the last tombstone. It's the biggest one and in the best condition. It has been reinforced with steel bars, obviously because it had fallen over before. So we place the last of the flower pallet in front of the tombstone, and I start digging a little hole with a shovel. Right behind the grave is the fence, and you can see the front door of the house, where probably the woman who made the complaint lives. It's like 15 feet away. There's no other house next to this graveyard. All of a sudden, that woman comes out of the front door, turns her head and sees two people she doesn't know behind a tombstone with a shovel in a cemetery she thought was haunted by angry ghosts. Just imagine her thinking that she had finally appeased the spirits, and now here were these grave-robbing amateur resurrectionists digging up the graves. We knew from the optics that this was not an ideal situation for either party involved, and she had this look on her face of pure abject horror, as if her eyes were screaming, "What have you wrought upon me? What are you doing?" So very quickly, Megan pulls the pallet of flowers out from behind the tombstone to clearly show that we are planting flowers and not digging up a grave. And her face goes from horror to, "Aw, did you know the family? You're planting flowers, that's so nice." Still nervous as heck, we were like, "No, we're just being nice." And then it started to rain more, and I got sicker when I came back home. I was on the mend, but I just exerted myself too much that day. So the lesson is if you're going to go hoofing through a graveyard in the rain, make sure that you are at least in good health. And make sure that the flowers you are planting are highly visible if you're going to bring a shovel. Dear God.